Okay, today I am going to do some vertical gardening here in my hen yard. Now, when I first built this place, my plan was to make this hen yard a garden for part of the year. That the chickens could live out here and scratch and peck, and they would eat all the old vegetables from whatever previous garden I had, and they would till the soil for me and fertilize, and they've done all of that, except we have voles that decide to ruin all of our crops that live in here. And they're good diggers, so they could dig under, even though the rest of it is like predator proof. And also, I'm going to be having little chicks this year, so I need to keep them separated from the big guys until they're old enough. So the chicks are going to be in here, and the big girls are going to be out there for a while. So, in other words, I can't have crops on the ground here because they would get ruined by either the voles or the chickens. So, but I don't want to not plant things back here. So my solution is to do a lot of vertical and hanging gardening. So here are some tomato plants that are hanging upside down. Fauci, stop digging. No digging, Fauci. There's another one. But on this wall here, I'm going to do some vertical gardening. I've got some pole beans that I've started that I'm going to plant over here. Hopefully I'll have them lifted up high enough where the chickens can't get to them, because I'm going to make like a shelf for them. And then I'm just going to have them grow up the thing. And they should be so easy to harvest vertically like that. You don't have to bend over. And I also have some climbing spinach, which I've never planted climbing spinach before. I'm kind of excited. So anyway, this is the reason why my garden is going to look like it does this year. I have another garden that I might show you in another video. But this is what we're working with back here this year for now. First thing I'll need to do is build a shelf to hold my vertically growing plants. I created a shelf here for my lettuces, but I need to create a shelf here. I'm just going to go see what kind of lumber I have laying around so I don't have to go buy anything. I have some old lumber here beside the house. I think I will. This was already used, you could tell. I forgot what it was that I took apart, and I saved the lumber saying, I'll have a use for it someday. Today might be the day. I think I'm going to make my shelf for my pole beans out of some of this. First one, it didn't cost me anything, and it's functional. I know it's not pretty, but I think there's beauty in function. Okay, let's see how we did. I definitely want this side on the bottom. All right. Let's put my level on there. good enough for Joe. Okay, I'm just gonna screw them in and then I'm gonna start potting some, some starts. Got a lettuces back there and the big ones there, those are pole beans and I'm going to be transplanting these today. I did my starts in egg crates, mostly because when you transplant them, you transplant the cardboard egg crate along with the plant and it gives them, they don't have as bad of a transplant shock because you're not disturbing their roots as much. I'm going to be using some dirt from my compost heap, some garden soil that I bought at Lowe's, and some dirt from the very back of the garden there. We tend to put all of our fall leaves and grass trimmings, and of course chickens go in there and poop, but mulch, anything that we have, we throw back there. And it makes really good soil under there. So I'm going to steal some, all right? Instead of planting directly in the ground, I'm going to bring the ground up and put it in the containers. Okay. I'm going to be doing my potting here on the deck just because there's a nice breeze and it's shady here. I didn't want to do it in the sun, and I wouldn't be able to enjoy the nice breeze if I were in the potting shed. So even though the potting shed is clean and I would enjoy working in there because of that, I think I'm happier out here. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I've got my little pole beans here. I have my 3 kinds of dirt that I'm gonna use. This is my compost. This is well-rotted hay and chicken poop and like garden, or rather like kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, tea bags. This stuff is like really, really rich, and there's a lot of seeds and stuff in it. So like you wouldn't believe, our compost heap is always like things are volunteering to grow out of it. So this I'm going to put on the bottom of the containers, okay? So just to try to suppress weeds, okay? This dirt here, this is good dirt, and this dirt is from the back of the chicken coop in the chicken run, okay? And this stuff, there shouldn't be any weed seeds in this because the chickens, they dig, and if they find a seed, it's gone. So this should be really good to put like on top, and I can mix this also with a little bit of this garden soil that I actually bought from Agway, and this is what I sprouted the pole beans in to begin with. I'm going to be using some of these buckets that I had bought at the dollar store a couple of years ago. I have already drilled some holes in the bottom, see, and for drainage. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant 2 pole beans in each bucket, and then I think I might put a lettuce here in the bucket, and so maybe I'll get like 2 crops, and so like as it grows up, I'll be able to harvest my beans up here and then harvest some lettuce down here. So that's my plan. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna need to do is fill my bucket with my mixture of soils. So at the very bottom is going to be this compost that's very, very rich in nutrients, but it also, I'm just gonna use my hands, but it also has a lot of seeds in it, and that's why it's gonna just stay at the bottom. But it'll give a lot of nutrients. And then here we go. Oh, I'm thinking I'm getting out of the frame. Okay, you put it here. There we go. Alright. Fill that up like this. I want want to fill them pretty deep, because if there's going to be 3 plants living in here, and the climbing ones, that's like a lot of greenery that it needs to grow. So it needs to get its food and nutrients from somewhere. Alright. Alright. Now I think I'm going to dress the top with some of this garden soil that I see. This is bought garden soil. There we go. Oh boy. I don't know if you can see my bucket. Okay, so I want to put whole bean, and then over here a lettuce. So now you probably can just tear these whole beans off. And that's the beauty of planting using these cardboard egg crates, is you just plant the cardboard in all, because the cardboard will decompose, and this way you know the soil, the roots in there are not getting as disturbed. So I'm gonna put this guy down, and when you do transplant something and you are using these little cardboard cups, sometimes people use like toilet paper rolls, what we used to call doot-doos, because you gotta like hold the tube and go doot-doo-doo. But you want to make sure that all the cardboard is underneath the soil, because if there's some cardboard sticking up, it tends to wick away the moisture and it dries out your plant, and that's no good. Okay, so we're going to put another guy over here, and we're going to make sure that we plant this guy deep enough so that his cardboard is covered. And let's see. This cup right here is just lettuce of some sort. And what I'm going to do is, there's too many lettuces here. I am going to thin these ones on the outside. I'm going to assume that their roots probably were the ones that got most damage. I'm sorry. Oh, I hate thinning them. It feels like you're killing your babies. Okay. And so this will go right here. Okay, I think that's 1 bucket down, 12 more buckets to go. I'm sure you don't want to watch every single bucket, so I'm going to turn this off, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay. Well, this is how it came out. Everybody needs some water. This area here, this dead space there, that is for the climbing spinach, and my starts haven't sprouted yet, so I'm gonna do that a little bit later, because I've never planted climbing spinach before, and so I don't know what it looks like when it sprouts, and I don't want to think it's a weed. All right. Okay. I see some fish in there. Hi, fish. So let's get some of this here water. I am glad to know that the shelf that I put in is not making it so that I can't dip my my watering can in there. It's very convenient. I can dip it and then I could use the shelf. Yeah, I don't think I should put plants there. We'll see how many spinach plants we have, but let's water everybody. Oh, look, we've had 2 fatalities of the fish in this barrel. If you saw my fish in a barrel video, but I'm not going to waste these little guys. I'm going to give them to the chickens, and they'll think that they're excellent protein. Here you go, guys. What's that? What's that? Ew, I know. What's that? Are you gonna go see what it is? What is it? What's that? There you go. Yeah. Yum. Dead fish. Well, like I said, I'm sad that the poor little guy died, but you know, some extra protein for our chickens. Weirdos. They eat anything.